Hello, you're watching James. My name's James, you're watching me, and I am talking about watches. Well, today it's time for another full in-depth review, and it's time for another full in-depth review of a San Martin watch. This one is the Type B Flieger, and I have to say I've been really liking Flieger watches and pilot style watches. And it has surprised me somewhat because I never really thought that that was the style of watch that I particularly liked. I was always a dive watch guy. I still am a dive watch guy. I then thought maybe I really like to get to know sort of field watches. I've sort of dabbled with them a little bit, but I've never really connected with one. I then started buying some pilot watches and I started to absolutely love them. And when I saw that there was a relatively affordable San Martin pilot watch on a bracelet, and I do like watches on bracelets, then I thought this is going to be perfect. But is it the perfect watch? If you watched the first impressions video of this one, you would have seen that I was a little bit sort of starting to think that this one might be a little bit boring, a little plain, or a little bit too clinical. But I did say it was a very well made watch, and I've continued to think that. But have I started to connect to this watch? Have I actually taken it properly out of its package, and have I actually been wearing it? Or did I find that I haven't connected with it? And as a result, I've kept it in new condition so I can sell it on to fund another watch. Well, let's flip the camera around and I'm going to show you, aren't I? But guys, first, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, I really would appreciate it if you click on that subscribe button. And if you are interested in this watch after this review, I will of course leave one of those affiliate links down below. But let's check out this Type B Flieger by San Martin. So here's my San Martin SN0030-G2, the Type B Flieger on the stainless steel bracelet. I do like the new packaging and I do like how they've changed it into black. It does look quite cool. Let's put the watch aside for the moment because under here we have a few extra bits and pieces. Comes with some warranty cards and information, some tools, and a little dog tag there for you to wear if you really wanted to. But we're not here to see the packaging so much. I think now that we've sort of seen so many San Martins, we sort of have a bit of an understanding of what we're getting from the packaging. Let's check out the actual watch itself. So what are we getting with this watch? Well, I'm going to say personally, I'm getting the most conflicting sort of feelings about a watch I've ever had before, because I really like this watch. I think it has a lot going for it, but I haven't really connected with this watch. So I haven't really ended up wearing it. And because of that, I chose not to resize the bracelet. And I did so because, well, I do have to sell watches to buy more watches. And if I don't have that real strong connection to a watch, well, I don't want to sort of damage it or sort of reduce how much I might be able to sell it for. So yes, I'm doing a full review today. However, it's not after wearing it lots. I have deliberately had a lot of time with it, looking at it in detail, so I give you a proper review, but please be mindful, I haven't worn this one, so there is probably not as in-depth as I would personally like. I do apologise for that. But why did I buy this one in the first place then? Well, firstly, it was relatively affordable, 240 Australian dollars. It's a Type B Flieger, which I really like, and it has a really nice set of dimensions. That being 39.1 millimeters case, 12.4 millimeters thickness, 49.2 millimeters lug to lug, 20 millimeter lug width, and on this supplied bracelet, with all the links still in it, it is 144 grams. Now, I do particularly like San Martin watch, I do particularly like Type B Flieger watches, and I do particularly like solid stainless steel bracelets, which is why I bought this watch. So I did expect for it to be a great watch, and I did expect to really enjoy wearing it. So firstly, let's talk about all the positives of this watch, and then I'll probably talk to you about why I haven't personally connected with it. The positives of it are exactly what I would expect from a San Martin. The overall quality is fantastic. If we're looking specifically at the dial, it is all printed on. Nothing that we don't expect from this one, being a Type B Flieger. No logos, no other text, but we have some fantastic lume, which is fantastic. Let's check out the lume now because that is a bit of a standout feature for me. It's lovely to see this one at night. Those hands are also nicely strongly lumed, but as you can see, the outside of those hands are colored black, so they sort of disappear into the dial a little bit. And I sort of like and dislike that a little bit. I like that it makes the hands look like they're almost floating, but it sort of detracts from them being sort of more interesting. But I guess from a sort of pilot's watch type perspective, that's not too sort of much of a bad thing. Second hand is all white, and it does go nicely all the way out to that sort of minute track. It all is covered by a piece of flat sapphire crystal, which is what we do expect from Sam Martin, which is fantastic. Everything on this watch is brushed, which is kind of cool, being a sort of more of a useful tool watch. That is kind of what we do want from this, which means it has a solid brushed bezel here, brushed tops of the case, brushed sides, no chamfer at all, it just transitions across. We do have a solid case back. There's nothing much going on there, nothing much to see there, but it is also all brushed. We do have a unguarded screw down crown, manual wind, and it does have hacking. And that is because this one contains the YN55 movement, which I've had a couple of watches now, and I'm very happy with those. It does, however, have a ghost position, so you will notice that at that second position there is a ghost position. You'll see we have the San Martin logo on the end there, which still contains some of that blue stuff. I have been trying to get that off, and I really haven't wanted to damage this watch by trying to pick it out too much. I'll continue to try and get that out, but yeah, that has actually been rather frustrating, I have to admit. But what I am going to say is it's nice and 3D, and once I do get all that blue stuff out, I think it's going to look absolutely fantastic. The quality of the brushing on the case itself is outstanding, just what I expect from San Martin. They do some beautiful finished sort of watches. And that continues on to this bracelet. Nice solid lugs there, fit really nicely, really fit well into the case, which is really impressive. All brushed. A little bit of taper, which is quite nice, and one of their smaller sort of clasps, which I actually do think suits this watch with that sort of imprinted logo there. Only 2 sets of micro adjust, however, but it does end up being all milled inside, which is nice, and we have screw links as well. Now, as mentioned, it does contain the YN55 movement, and I do like to stick all my watches on a time grapher, so let's see how this one is performing. Well, there's a good set of numbers, which I don't think many people would be disappointed in. Running at 21,600 vibrations per hour, almost no beat error, fairly good amplitude, and running just under 0 seconds per day. Absolutely fantastic. And how does this one look on my 6 3/4 inch wrist? Well, the best I can show you whilst holding it here, I think it looks fantastic. I think it is a great sized watch. Really nice to have a Type B Flieger on a bracelet. But why have I not been wearing it? Why have I not resized it? Well, let's have a quick chat about that, shall we? Because what do I like about it? What don't I like about it? And what would I change? Well, before talking about why I haven't resized this and why I haven't really connected with it, let's just run over those features about what make it so good. Being a San Martin, the quality, the fit, the finishing, everything put together as a package is fantastic. I love Type B Fliegers in general, so I think it has a fairly good look to it, and it certainly performs well on the time grapher as well, which I do appreciate. I quite like the bracelet on this one. I like the taper from 20 down to about 16 millimeters. I think it sort of suits this sort of size watch. It does make it a very good everyday watch. But what don't I like about it? Well, it's a bit of a hard one to sort of get across. I think it's a really well made watch. Everything about it is really good, but there's just not a wow factor. There's not something that's making me go, wow, I want to wear that watch. It just feels a little bit clinical. And I know with pilot watches, Flieger watches, they are fairly simple. But I guess I just want a couple of little wow factors on it. If perhaps those hands were blued, maybe had a little ungling crown, man, that's really all it would probably take, I'll be honest. Which is not a lot, but it was enough for me not to connect with it. So what would I change about it? Well, exactly those 2 things. Give me a bit of blue on the hands, put an ungling crown on there. Now this watch has this character as well as being really well made. But let's flip the camera around now. Let me give you some of my final thoughts about this one. So guys, this is the first time I've ever done this. I've never had a watch come in and I've not actually worn it properly before doing the full review. I do a full review on a watch after wearing it regularly for 4 to 6 weeks because I really want to understand that watch so that I can give you a proper in-depth review. But when this one arrived, I just didn't connect with it. I sort of knew that it was a good quality watch. I could see that it was fitted and finished well. I could see that everything was ticked off my sort of my head box of, oh, yes, I want that, yes, I want that, yes, I want that. But I didn't have that sort of connection to it, or that heart connection that I say, that emotional connection with this watch. So I made the decision not to play around with this watch too much. I decided to handle it a fair bit to try and get a good understanding of it so that I could do a review of it. But I kept it in new condition because, hey, I've only got a very small amount of money to invest into watches. And if I keep this one in new condition, knowing that I'm not really going to wear it long term, then I can sell it and get my money back. Now, that's not ideal from a review perspective, but I've also got to be reasonable. As a result, I probably haven't been able to give the best review of this watch, so I do apologize for that, but I've got to balance these things out. And I knew that even if I did size this one up and I did start wearing it, that I'd end up selling it. So I might as well keep it in some really good condition so I can get some money back, buy more watches and do more reviews. And it is a little bit of a shame because even though this watch is particularly good, it's just not one that I feel that I've connected with. But hey guys, thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. I do hope to see you in the next video.